KEMBO, Natata Nzambi, and Mama Ndombe. All KEMBO belongs to our Creator. We want to thank you all for being with us. We thank you, everyone here on Zoom, for being with us. We always are honored to have you. We love you greatly. Matondo Masaka. All right, we're going to have a teaching by our Mama Brenda, my queen, my bride. And I'm going to turn it over to her. All right.
You got to make me co-host.
Okay. Yeah. Is it oh, you are.
Okay.
You should, yeah.
Oh, it's already done? Okay, great.
Yeah.
Okay.
You should be able to share.
Make on here. And let's see if I am there. Yep. Wait a minute. Yep, there we go.
There it is. Just handle that. Tweak you a little bit.
Let me get to my slideshow. I gotta move this out. Bear with me 1 minute, you all. There we go. All right, here we go. Moving some things around here on my computer. Put this up. All right, so we're talking about dominion of the earth and who it belongs to. As you can see, the title says dominion of the earth belongs to the original man. So we have to get down to see who the original man is to know who has dominion, because we know when you look in the Bible and scripture, it talks about that dominion was given to man. So we want to kind of briefly look at that so we can see who actually has dominion and what is dominion. It's real brief. It's going to be a brief teaching, and maybe later I can go into it a little deeper. So it says the melanated man, woman, and child. That is the people who have dominion. That is the people that have dominance. And this is for educational purposes only. It is not to exude any favoritism towards one particular person or another. That we're just presenting factual information just to bring about some truth and clarity on some things for educational purposes. Can you all hear me okay? Wonderful. All righty. I need to move this. All righty. So we want to take a look at a particular passage here first. Let's look at that in Genesis so we can form a basis, a foundation here of where we're going. So Genesis 1:26-28, it says, and God said, let us make man in our image, in our likeness, and let them have dominion. So here we have the creator saying, the creators, because we know that the word God is translated as Elohim, which is plural, which means one. But when they translated, the Europeans, they took out the plural of God and just put one for various reasons. So it's actually, and the gods said, let us, that's why it's us, you all, make man in our image like us, after our likeness, characteristics of the creator. Them, man, have dominion, dominance over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over the cattle and over all the earth and over every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth. So the gods created man in their image, in the image of gods created male and female in their image, masculine, feminine energy created he them. Following me, right? You guys following me? Okay. Yep. And God blessed them, and God said unto them, man, be fruitful and multiply and replenish the earth and subdue it, meaning to rule over it, which is the same as to have dominion, okay? And have dominion over the fish of the sea and over the fowl of the air and over every living thing that moveth upon the earth. So here in this particular passage, we see that the gods that created man in their image and likeness gave the earth to them and told them to rule and have dominion, kingdom, rulership over this earth that was given unto them. So we want to take a look at that word there in that particular passage that says dominion. And it is to rule, to prevail, to reign, to be the ruler, as you can see. And the etymology of that word from the Etymology Online Dictionary says that the word dominion is defined as lordship, sovereign, or supreme authority. To rule, to have power, to have ownership. And it goes right back to Genesis when it says, and the God says, let us make man in our image and likeness, and let them have dominion over everything in the earth.
So this is saying that we're to have supreme authority. Mm-hmm.
It's not we're supposed to, we do have. It's just some things happen to cause someone to usurp that authority. So right now, we know that the melanated man is, and we're kind of jumping ahead of ourselves, but since you asked that question, it's like somebody, you own a business, okay? And somebody comes in and they steal that business from you and they take over that business from you. They hold you at gunpoint and say, this is mine, I'm taking it. Mm-hmm. And if you do anything or say anything, I'm going to kill you and your children. Mm-hmm. And so they take your company and they use you and all those that are there in that corporation as and enslave them and use them to advance their cause. Mm-hmm. So essentially, that's what has happened in the earth. Mm-hmm. The original man, which we know and science back this up, they themselves even say that. And like I said, we're jumping ahead, but they even say that, for one, the oldest bones ever found is found in East Africa. And they said that, quote unquote, Homo sapiens came out of Africa, right? Mm-hmm. We know that in Africa, the dominant people over there are melanated, dark skinned people as far as the phenotype, right? Black people, as they say.
Yes.
So that is where the original man came from. Science even says that the oldest bones are over there, right? Mm-hmm.
So I was just simply saying, we have the final word because we are the supreme authority of this earth.
You have to know who you are to understand that. So say I told you that someone came and took your corporation and thousands and thousands and thousands of years lapsed. Okay.
Yes.
This person passed on this authoritative position over this corporation to their children down through many generations. And then, you and your people that was working there, they were having kids too, but they position was
Right.
still subdued
Yes.
up under the person that came in and assumed this
Yes.
position of power, right?
Mm-hmm.
So your children don't know,
Right.
because you hid it from them to protect them, because remember he said, if you do anything, I'm going to kill you, right?
Right.
So you didn't teach your children, you didn't let them know. And if they did find out some kind of way that corporation is theirs, you would hush your mouth, boy, don't you say nothing.
Yes.
Don't you say that, because you're trying to protect them to keep them alive, right? Y'all following me? The scenario that I'm giving is making sense? So the corporation is the world. Yes, corporation is the world. And the people that work in the world, that own the corporation, that work at the corporation, that own the corporation, is the original man, which is the melanated man. Okay. Any question, comments?
So far.
So, okay, we talked about the definition of dominion. So, in the Blue Letter Bible. So when we go to the etymology of dominion, it's lordship, sovereign, supreme authority, rule or power. See, that's why it's important to know who you are, where you came from. So, Black man, your history has been manipulated, altered, hidden for a reason, for a person. Yes, and even hijacked for a purpose, but more so hidden for a reason. And it's time that we know who we are, melanated man, woman, boy, and child, so that we can take back dominion over the earth and to rule with the Ma'at and Ubuntu as our ancestors did. You see, when our ancestors ruled with those precepts that govern the universe, we didn't have what we're dealing with now, all these bloodthirsty wars, all these hungry, thirsty warlords going around the world killing just to subdue people, their land, and their resources. You didn't have it like that. Mama Bantu, you mentioned something to us last week, I do believe it was last week, about an elder over there in Kenya. Do you mind sharing that again, please? What he said about the type of war and the difference of war from a European perspective and an African perspective.
He was explaining to me that war didn't mean bloodshed of your brother's blood. Mostly they fought over territories. So they would go out, the warriors would go out, and the ones that pushed back the most, they claimed that territory. But they would have a ceremony, and the loser would bring gifts to the winner. Say, fair fight, you won, here's a cow, here's chickens, here's egg. And that's how they exchanged it. He said, we never drew our brother's blood in our wars.
Okay, so
that's the respect that we had for one another, he said. We respected each other's tribes, we respected each other's land. And so it was never bloodshed like it is today. War is so much bloodshed. So that's how he explained it to the class. I had him as a guest.
Okay. So it goes back again to those universal precepts, which the Bible has some of these precepts, not all of them, that our ancestors upheld, the 42 affirmations, what some people call the 42 laws of Ma'at, but they're affirmations. And the Bible has only 10 of them, and they changed it up from affirmations to command. So one of them was, I have not murdered. I have not committed murder. So you're saying I have not done this. So you see, they had to change that up, because these are people that go around the world and have went around the world and have shed so much blood. And even today, it's like they're going back to that state again. And well, they never stop, but it just seemed like it's even proliferating even more so today with all the blood that is being shed just for the sake of resources, greed. And that was not who we are, because we upheld, remember, we were given dominion by the Creator. We had, our ancestors held up the precepts and standards of the Creator, which holds up the universe. And that is where the 42 affirmations come from when you look at them. And it was, as Mother was saying, it was about respect, because we didn't go around taking lives. And if something like that happened, which was very rare during that time, it was dealt with. So you didn't have that. Remember, I don't remember who the writer was, a European writer that said when he came to Africa, he saw there were no prisons and, none of the negative things that we see over here in the West, because it was not needed. Because when you have respect to that degree and upholding such high standards and regard for one another and all the creation of man, actually, because you show respect for the animals, the land, the water, and they show none of that. And see, that's another reason why you can tell who has dominion, who is the one that was given dominion. So let's use for a scenario. You have a house and you stayed in that house, you purchased that house, and you and your husband, you and your wife, y'all had kids, and you lived in that house for X amount of years. And, your family started growing and you needed more room. And so you moved into a larger house and y'all decide, hey, let's just keep this house for rental property. You upkept the house, kept it neat and everything. When anything needed fixing, you fixed it, kept the yard neat and looking pretty with flowers, etc. And you rent it out. The individual that you're renting to have no value or attachment emotionally and otherwise to that house as you do. So they're not going to treat it and esteem it as you would. Now let's bring it home. Ancestors, okay? They respected animals. They didn't go around killing animals just for the sake of sport and to showcase them on their wall to say, I killed a rhinoceros, I killed a lion, I found a leopard and I killed a leopard just for the sake of sport. It was not done like that. They respected nature totally. They didn't go around just cutting down trees. Even to this day, they say, we were told that you have to ask for permission to even cut down a tree. Okay?
Yep.
But you see over here in the West, they just go cutting down trees, wooded areas, taking away the habitat of animals to build up houses that you made out of cheap material over here in the West that impacts your frequency, because the houses our ancestors made was made out of nature. See? So you can see who actually had dominion over the earth by how they esteem, respect, and care for it, because it was given unto them. They have an attachment to it. Versus those that really don't, but are in assumed power. And I say assumed for a reason. For they have assumed power and go around and disregard animals, disregard the water. They pollute the water, they pollute the air, they pollute the earth, they pollute everything. They kill the trees, cut down so many trees, and wonder why so many of these animals in your front yard, when you took away their habitat, had no respect for them. So you can look at that and just tell, just that alone, who was in a scenario that I presented unto you, who has dominion, who cared for the earth more, who had respect for the earth and the things in the earth more. Who was it? Who is it?
Looking at this word dominion, and you said this is the etymology.
Yes.
Okay.
Online dictionary, yes.
So looking at it
The
and
English
having
word.
the different definitions that it gives you, or it says lordship, sovereign or supreme authority, rule, power, ownership.
Mhm.
The word comes from the medieval Latin, which says dominionum,
Mhm.
and then dominio, dominium. But I like this one. It says from dominus,
Mhm.
meaning Lord or master.
Mhm.
From domus, house,
Mhm.
dim, house or household.
Mhm.
Now, when it tells us in Genesis, the scripture that you read, to allow them or let them, let them, let them have dominion over the earth. This is saying, let them be Lord over the earth.
Mhm.
Let them be masters over the earth, having the rule, power, ownership
Mhm.
of the earth.
Mhm.
But what we have been taught by religion that was given to us, we have.
I even want to change that. It wasn't given to us, it was forced upon us.
Okay, forced upon us.
Initially,
We
it was
have
forced.
relinquished our ownership.
Mm.
We've relinquished our power. We've relinquished our supreme authority. We've relinquished our lordship and our mastership over the earth and have given it to Jesus. And we call upon this entity who we were forced to believe that Jesus was the Son of God and that Jesus looked like them who assumed the authority and trying to take over the whole earth and have ownership of it.
So what you're saying when you said that we have given it to Jesus, you're saying essentially that you're equating that to the Europeans.
Yes.
Is that what you're okay?
Yes. We have
and Brenda, I found the letter, and if we have time, I'd like to read the letter of. He was from the British Parliament, Lord Macaulay.
Mm-hmm.
And the first two paragraphs of the letter talks about what he saw when he stepped in Africa.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So if we have time.
What year was that when he wrote that?
It was 1835, February the 2nd, 1835.
Okay, go ahead and read that, Mother.
Okay. He said, I have traveled across the length and breadth of Africa, and I have not seen one person who is a beggar, who is a thief. Such wealth I have seen in this country, such high moral values, people of such caliber, that I don't think we can ever conquer this country unless we break the very backbone of this nation, which is her spiritual and cultural heritage.
There it is.
Wait a minute.
There it is.
Based upon what he observed, because they do know they came in and they studied us, as they are still studying us and our ancestors to this day. We, the melanin man, woman, and child, is studied more than any group of individual there is. Ask yourself, why? Why is Africa studied more than any other place on this earth? And the people of that are in Africa and of African descent, why? Why? So, Mama Bantu, read that last part again about what they had to do to subdue and take over this corporation.
Okay. It says, such caliber. I don't think we could ever conquer this country unless we break the very backbone of this nation, which is their spiritual and cultural heritage. Therefore, I propose that we replace their old ancient educational system, her culture, and if the Africans think that all that is foreign and English is good and greater than their own, they will lose their self-esteem and become a dominated nation.
Wow.
Written to the British Parliament, February the 2nd, 1835.
So essentially, they use psychology on us.
Yeah.
To make us look at our spirituality and our cultural practices as substandard towards the European.
Mm-hmm.
And our educational system. Remember, they said we were uneducated.
Yeah.
Yes, educational system which they wanted a part of, and we would not allow them to come in there, and that's why they call it a secret society, because it's not for them. So fast forward to today. That's why I said they forced religion on us, because we never had religion. You heard her say spiritual.
Yes.
So they told us our spirituality, our culture, and I'm gonna stop right there, and then I'm gonna get to education, Mama. They said that our spirituality and our culture practices were evil, backwards, demonic, substandard. Fast forward to today. That was in the 1800s. Fast forward to today. You have people that do not really know who they are, which a lot of our people that are in Christianity, our family, it is that they will view our spirituality from the continent evil, demonic, and wicked. But I have news for you. If you only knew your history, your culture, your language, your spirituality, you would see it in that Bible. What you call witchcraft, you would see is in that Bible. But because you don't know your history, you don't know that. You have people, and I've heard someone say this, as a matter of fact, it was our oldest son was saying that somebody had came to them in a dream and then asking someone close to them, have you ever seen them? No, I don't dream about dead people. Because we were taught that those are not your ancestors, those are not your that's not your grandmama, that's not your aunt, that's not your dad, that's not your mother, et cetera, they're dead. Those are demons that are coming to you. So they're saying that demons are coming to you, and that is not true. When you look in the very, and I know we're getting off, but when you look in the very Bible itself, family that's in Christianity, the one that you call Jesus spoke to dead people, his ancestors, what you call demonic. So how can it be demonic for our people, but not demonic for the one that you esteem so? Now, if you don't know what I'm talking about, on that mountain, did not Jesus speak to Moses and Elijah? And they were not alive at that time, of course, because they existed way before the creation of Jesus Christ.
Yep.
And they were deceased, and they were ancestors because they were quote unquote Jews, right? Quote unquote. As was he, right? So they were ancestors of him, of his, excuse me. So he was communing with dead folks. Don't they call that But it's demonic and it's witchcraft. Okay, well, your Jesus did it. Okay, and then they talk about, and they talk about, when they're throwing the bones and doing, which is called divination, which comes from the word divine. See, that's why it's important to know knowledge is power. And the Bible calls it casting lots. See, they have to disguise it because most people, they say in Christianity and religion, don't even read their Bible. So if they don't read, they surely not studying. And this is not coming from me. This is coming from a research that was done by the Bana groups, saying that some years ago, it's probably more than that now. I think it was like 85, 88% of people that go to church don't even read the Bible. So let me educate you a little bit, my dear. Casting lots, research it and look it up. You will see that it's the same thing as throwing bones, what you call demonic, and it's in the Bible, referred to as casting lots. Knowing your history and knowing truth is critical. They have hidden things from you for a purpose and diluted your mind and made you think that you and your people are evil, backwards, demonic, when we created the greatest civilization there was on earth, where all other nations today have copied from. Yes, Kangi.
Yeah, I remember, since you mentioned that, had this conversation with Yaya one time about how they want to make the word divination so wicked, but yet, don't they have schools of divinity? Can they not get degrees in divinity? Divine.
Yeah.
All
Makes sense.
You know, I mean, no disrespect to our family that are still in organized religion, because we were there at once. But we have to, you know what? I was listening to this teaching of this guy from Africa, Oniba, I think is the name of his channel. And he was talking about the 12 princes of Ishmael. And we're saying how they were not really people, and that you have to look at the Bible more from a symbolic, way versus taking it literal, which in organized religion, they take everything so literal in there. And he broke it down. And I remember years ago doing study, and it talks about, it said Ishmael would be a wild man, right? And in my research, I found out that Ishmael, the wild man, represents the flesh. And that's what he was saying. And he said that, well, he didn't say this, but in my studies, Jacob, it said Jacob stayed home, was like the good one. So that represents the one that was walking in the light, right? And so that's what he was saying too, that's what it's about. And he used the story of Moses and Joseph. I'm mixing Joseph and Moses. He told the story of Joseph and Moses and how Joseph was taken into slavery, into Egypt, right? Kemet, which means bondage, okay? So he's talking about that spirit man was in bondage. And so he went there, but he freed himself from the bondage and became ruler over what? Egypt, meaning he ruled over the flesh. He went back to save his family. Then he talked about Moses, how the same scenario with Moses and how he went and saved his people. And so he was saying, when you subdue the flesh and you walk in the light, then you go back to save your family. And so us that have awakened and have found out they have suppressed the truth, hidden so much, manipulated so much, and we have discovered this and have been enlightened about this, we share this with our family, whether they receive it or not, whether they believe it or not. To what? Try to save them. So hence, you have now become a savior for your people, trying to save them from lies that has destroyed them, basically.
And if I could just clarify real quick, you had mentioned Ishmael being a wild man, and you said Jacob, being the good son. I think you were referencing Jacob and Esau.
Yeah. Yeah, but I was still using it as a scenario too, though. But how Jacob
was. It said Esau. Bible said Esau.
Right.
Oh, wow.
That's right.
Yes.
That's right. I'm sorry. Esau. Yes. And those two represented represented the flesh and one represented the spirit man. And it's saying that the spirit man had to subdue the flesh. That's all it's about. And so that's what we try to do. We know that a lot of our family members are not where we are, and we're understanding of that. But yet still, that should not stop us unless we are led to try to free our people from these lies. And that's all of us, all of the melanated man, woman, child here in the diaspora and on the continent as well, because they have been given lies too. Mm-hmm. You know, they're awakening to who they are and rising up. And so are we. We see what's happening. So we have been tasked with, because we have awakened, that means that you have been chosen. So if you are awakened in this hour, in this time, in this dispensation, you are a chosen seed from your generation to bring salvation to your lineage, to your people. That's a very important task, people. So your ancestors saw something in you, in us, to where they chose us, because majority of us that are awakened, it's usually we're the only one in our family, right? Mm-hmm. You hardly.
That's correct. That's correct.
Yes. You hardly see anybody say, my brother, my sister, it's usually that one person, and they're the black sheep of the family. They're shunned, and you're going to hell, blah, 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 because you now have been awakened to this truth. So that carries a lot of weight right there. There's a lot of responsibility, you all, but your ancestors and the Creator saw something in you. Not only that, when you came here, you said, I'll be the one. I'll be the one to go and be the savior to my people, to my lineage, to my family. Remember in the Bible, it says, Jesus said, prepare me a body, I will go. Who was talking then if he didn't have a body? The spirit man, because the spirit doesn't die. So the spirit said, prepare me a body, I will go. You too said, prepare me a body. And I'm talking to those who are awakened to the truth of who you are. You know who you are. You know where you come from. You know the greatness that is within you. You know the greatness that you come from. You know that you come from royalty. You know that you are the royal priesthood. You know that you are the chosen nation. You know this. You know when the Bible says that man was created in the image and likeness of the Creator. You know that it's you. And it's not the entire world and everybody else. You know this. You have been chosen, and you have a this is the most important task you will ever have in your life. Your family and your ancestors are depending on you to save your family, to save your lineage from destruction of the mind and of the spirit. Because the lies that we have been told, the historical and religious lies that we have been told, the manipulation of history was to destroy the Black man. It was meant to do that. But they are so puzzled as to why they have not destroyed us, why they have not broken us. We yet still rise, as Maya Angelou said, yet still I rise. We still rise in the face of all these adversities. When they killed our mothers and fathers and took our mothers and fathers off the continent, and we're scattered here in the diaspora because of it, and called them kleptomaniacs because they, and the other types of name, because they wanted to run away to freedom. use them to build up this nation that they call a superpower. It's a superpower because super people built it up. You use super people with superpower to build it up. That's the only reason why. And it's still being held up because you have their children under your roof. Let them go and see what happens.
Yeah.
They know. They know. Okay.
But you know what else? As you were speaking and saying that we've been chosen,
Mm-hmm.
you know what we've also been chosen for? And it hit me.
Mm-hmm.
We've been chosen to take dominion back over the earth.
That's it. That's it. Bottom line. Bottom line.
And that's exactly what we're doing.
Yes, it's happening now.
So
we see it.
Decreeing and declaring. When you open your mouth, because you, melanated people, my brothers and sisters, have the power to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And what you say will manifest.
No more. Remember that teaching, no more?
Remember in the Bible, Jesus said, these things I do, you can do, and greater. What he was saying was, take dominion back over what's been given to you. That's what he was trying to show us.
And what we're speaking now, it's manifesting so much faster.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes, it is.
So that's all we have to do. We have been chosen for everything that Brenda said, but also to take dominion back over the earth that was given to us.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
I'm finished. Go ahead.
But they so, going back to our spirituality real quick, you all, before we go to the next slide here. Talked about our spirituality and I talked about our culture after Mama Bantu read that letter that man wrote to the British Parliament, I do believe she said, in the 1800s.
1836.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
our spirituality, our people don't want to touch it because they think is demonic. But here's the thing, it is powerful. So I told you it's full. Our spirituality is so packed in that Bible, but they don't see it because they're blinded. And I gave one example of how in the Bible, when it talks about Jesus being on the mountain, how he talked to, how they said Moses and Elijah appeared unto him who were dead. But y'all say they dead. They don't come to me in the dream. So why they coming to Jesus if they dead? Come on now. Y'all wake up. Some of this stuff, it's just a no-brainer. And then y'all talk about, oh, Jesus turned water into wine. What is that? Y'all call that magic, right? Okay. That is where you the word, the magi, they were magician. So whatever you want to call it, miracles, magic, witchcraft, alchemy, it's all the same. I don't care what how you try to package it up. It's all the same thing. He turned water into wine.
Hey, you know what, man? Yaya did the same thing.
Yeah, but y'all, yeah.
Alchemy.
For me, they shortened it to Chem, which is committed, and you got chemistry, which means black, which is the study of black, which essentially is saying it's the study of melanin, meaning, hey, it's a study of you and I. Because everything in this, practically in this world, has melanin. It's everywhere. Yes. It's present when life is created in the womb, melanin is there. Mm-hmm. Is in the outer space. Mm-hmm. That's why they're trying to use it. And astronauts, they say astronauts a suit because they know it's out there in space. They can't go out in space. So they're trying to create something where they actually can go out in space. They did a research. And the first Black that went into space, I was reading in the Science Journal, it was that female, Mae Jemison, I think it was her. Didn't realize that she was a test to see how Black people did out in space, they said, versus white. And according to this article, they ended up with diseases. She didn't. You hate the color of your skin and don't know how powerful it is. I love my skin and the skin I'm in. I am greatness. I am majestic. I am powerful. I have the world wanting to look like me. They want to look like us. Why do you think they lay out in the sun trying to get dark? I never forget, real quick, how I ended up on this journey. Real short, I asked the Most High. I was still in Christianity at the time. Why are we hated all around the globe? Why is the Black man everywhere you go? The Black man in Australia, in Africa, in China, where they are up in the mountains, in the Philippines, in the mountains, all over the world. Why? Why are we hated because of the color of our skin? I heard a voice speak to me and say, it's not the color of your skin. It is who you are. You are the people of the book. I never forget that. And I began to study and research, and I came to Nzambi and told him what I heard. So I know who I am. Can't nobody take that away from me. I know who I am, and I walk in it with confidence. I am the original man. You, melanated man, are the original man. With that being said, in the educational system, I told Mama Bantu I would get to that last. We had our own it was different sets that we had. As a matter of fact, these universities, colleges that they have, they were in Africa, and our ancestors took them to Europe. Okay? So, and this is documented. So how is it that we can be backwards and uneducated when we took education to you all? How is it that we're uneducated when it was the Greeks and all others of the world that came into Kemet to learn at the feet of our ancestors about alchemy? Who's backwards now? And then they took it back into their place of where they came from. The Greeks went back. Socrates and all these different, what they call the philosophical thinkers. And when they went to them, see, they don't tell you this because Pythagoras and all these folks, they said they came up with all this stuff. No, they learned this stuff from Africa. They was over there for 30 and 40 years learning at the feet of our ancestors. It is documented if you take the time to go and research it. Knowledge is power, family. And so now that they're telling you today that they came up with medicine, they came up with the hypotenuse and all this and that, they failed to tell you when they left Africa after being in Africa for 30, 40, 50 years and went back to their country teaching this wealth of knowledge that they gleaned from our ancestors, particularly the Greeks that I've read. The government said, this is not ours, doesn't belong to us. And they killed a lot of them. And they put some of them on islands and they died. They don't tell you that. But they want to claim it as theirs now. No, it wasn't yours. You got it from our ancestors. We know. We know. And so we had school systems, different systems. They said before they went in to learn in the different places of houses that they had in Kemet, they will have over that man know thyself. That's where they got it from. But they trying to say they attributed to some white guy, some European guy. No, they got it from Kemet. Man, know thyself. That is why it's called alchemy. Remember, I told you alchemy, Kim means black. It's the study of black, which is melanin, the study of you. Man, know thyself. That's why it's called chemistry. It was learning about you. Chemistry. Because you are in everything. Black man. So, skip. So this here was from an article here. It says new study confirms that Africans are the most genetically diverse people on earth. And we know this, and it claims to pinpoint the center of origin. See, I told you we're the most studied people on earth. Melanated, the melanated man, woman, and child. A large international group of researchers has completed the most detailed study of African genetic diversity ever. With enough data, they say, to pinpoint the southwestern coast of Africa. So they're trying to find out where man came from, where we came from, essentially, is what they're trying to say. And it says, between the borders of today, Namibia and South Africa as humanity's what? Homeland. So that means this is where the original man came from. That's all this article is saying. Between Namibia and South Africa. Who's over there?
We are.
African, black folks, melanated people. The original man. Just, I'm trying to get.
Yes.
Melanated.
Yes.
And
So
that's what, and that's why they're trying to control it.
There you
yes,
go.
because
There you go.
that is where the seat of dominion is at, you all. We don't know it. We sitting on dominion. Our family, well, you know, we've been taken away from over there, our ancestors over here, but it's still ours. It's by divine right because of who we are. You know, we come from that. Our ancestors come from there. Just because they stole our ancestors from off the continent and enslaved them, and we've been over here for 400 years, doesn't take away from the fact that's where our people are from. It's just like if someone take away another person's child and have them for years and years, take them to another house. So you're trying to say the house they came from is no longer their house? Nonsense. Now let's move on because there's nothing to be said in this. Africa belongs to us too.
And you're right, Nkosi. I was going to say the same thing. You know, that's why these evil entities have gone over into Africa trying to take an area in South Africa and claim it as theirs and not allow us into that area, but it's our continent. It's our land. But that's their nature, to come in and take what belongs to somebody else and control it and say it's ours. No, it's not yours. You stole the land. And you're telling us, get out of our land, get out of our company, get out. No, you get out.
I think it's going to be taken from them supernaturally.
I do too.
Yes.
I do too.
Will.
I do too.
I just spoke it. It will be taken from
will.
Because that land is very, very spiritual. You tell me, okay, that's why it's important to know our history. So let's just go ahead and go there. So they look at Kemet, aka Egypt. But we know that it all started in the South, in South Africa. And they went up the Nile Valley, on up that way. That's why they ran back down going south when they were being attacked and killed by the Romans, because our ancestors wouldn't take on their ways, their diabolical ways. And it's been documented that they were killing millions of us. And they said that they ran deep. This is in the book of Wars of Josephus, and they ran deeper into Africa. I know white folks ran deep into Africa away from the Romans. That was us and our people. They were going back home to safety, right? That's what was happening. They was going back south. Now, I was listening to Baba Credo, and he was talking about how, and also something I read over in Mpumalanga, the oldest relic ever found on Earth. It's not found in Kemet. It's South Africa. Did y'all know they have pyramids in South Africa too?
Yes.
Yes, they do. But let them tell it is only in Kemet, and then they say it's some, well, I'm talking about on the continent of Africa right now. It's only in Kemet. They don't talk about the ones in Sudan. We know it's in there, but they're older than the ones in Kemet, and the ones in South Africa is older than all of them. That's where it all started, family. And isn't this article saying that?
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
It's just like these evil entities to point you in another direction.
Yes.
And they point you they really point you to Egypt because they show you the whitewashing of Egypt. So they want
Yes.
you to think that they were here. That's what they want you to think. So this is why the pyramids, they point to the pyramids in Egypt and won't tell you much, if anything.
Because they don't know much of anything.
If anything, about the ones in South Africa and Sudan.
But
And to tell you that they're the oldest.
So we know that it's been colonized. So the people that are over there now ruling over Egypt are not the indigenous people. And I hope our people know that by now. Hope you know that by now.
A young 29-year-old told me yesterday, he said, Mama, did you know that Egypt was black at one time? I said, yes. He said, they stole Egypt. I said, yes, they did. They did. How old are you anyway? Yeah, I think I was talking to a returned ancestor.
Yes, that was ours over there. That they you can go back before the time of Pharaoh, and they have found bones where they did DNA analysis. Like they said, the deeper you dig, the blacker it gets, y'all. They found bones, and they said the DNA of those bones that they found before the time of the pharaohs matched those in what they could call sub-Saharan Africa. Before the pharaohs. Mm-hmm. The first pharaohs were black. They didn't start becoming white or of a different color until it started being colonized by the various people that were coming in.
Because was that like the Ptolemies, right? The Greeks.
The Greeks were the Ptolemies, and then it was the Romans, and you had the Arabs. You had so many. You had the Assyrians came in. You had different groups coming in, taking over our land because it was majestic. That was the superpower of the world during that time. So
I just saw a picture of Egypt, and someone said you could tell who the real Egyptians are. The ones who are standing in the sun, and the others are under the umbrellas.
Yes, yes. Absolutely. And also we know what has happened. That this is on that with the hijab that they're on now, and how so many of these Arabs have fallen dead because of the sun. And when you go and research about the melanin in the equator, you will see the closer you get to the equator, the darker they are. Why? Because the melanin protects them from that hot sun.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Arabs that look like you who are the true Arabs. The true Arabs that have your skin color melanated, they weren't falling out.
Right.
That's right. That's right.
How could they say they built the pyramids?
But they can't even take the sun. They falling out. They getting skin cancer and all kinds of stuff. They dressed all up like somebody said to protect their skin. When they were exposed. Their skin was exposed.
That's because the sun is their enemy.
Exactly.
They are the enemies of the sun.
Yes.
We are the children of the sun.
Yes.
Hey, Queen Tamara, they built the pyramids under a giant umbrella.
with the water ices.
and also to those of our family that may not believe or find it hard to believe that Egypt, Kemet, aka Egypt, were originally melanated people. Ask yourself, why are those non-melanated Arabs allowing non-melanated beings coming in to dig up your ancestors when you consider that sacrilegious? Most all cultures do, most all. But they coming up, digging up your ancestors, poking and probing on them. You moving them around all over the place. You don't disturb the dead. They don't do that. Why are you doing that? Because it's not your ancestors. You have no respect for them. Yep. Like I told you before, if you want to know who it really belongs to, look at how it's being treated. They have no respect for the bones of our ancestors. That is why Europe have a lot of bones of our ancestors on display in their museums, all in their basements in their museums. They did it over here in America. They had bones of our ancestors in universities. They found some down in a basement studying us. I told you, you are the most studied group of people on the face of this earth. Ask yourself why. If we are who or what they claim we are, why? Why? You supposed to be the cream of the crop. Why you? Ask yourself that question. As Arsenio used to say, things that make you go, it don't make sense, y'all. Don't make sense.
Make it make sense.
Make it make sense, mama. Here, this is a video. I'm just going to show maybe like not even 5 minutes probably of it. It says this guy's talking about why black is dominant and white is recessive. So he's talking about the allele, the genes. Okay. I don't know if they're gonna be able to hear it. I'm gonna have to put mines on. Can't you mute yours and I put mines on? Because you ain't fixed your sound yet.
It might.
Can y'all see it? Can y'all see or hear me?
Yes, we can hear you.
Yes.
Yes, we can hear you.
Wave your hand. Wave your hands in the air like you don't care. If you can hear me, but okay. Those of you, I can't see your picture, thumbs up if you can hear me. Thumbs up.
I can hear you. I can hear you.
Because I muted this.
Okay. Okay, great. So let's listen to the video here.
And topic of
Are y'all able to hear that? Are y'all able to hear that? The video?
I didn't hear it.
I couldn't hear it.
Gotta get that. I want you all to hear this.
Remember to share your computer sound, Mama Brenda.
Okay. Share my sound because my sound is on.
No, when you share screen, there's a part of, after you click share screen, there's a place to
Oh, okay.
tick. Yeah, so you may have to go on new share for that.
Share. Okay. Got it. Let me know if y'all can hear it or not. I'm gonna play it back over.
breeding and selection. And topic of today's video is why black pigment is dominant and white is recessive.
Okay, can y'all hear that?
Yes.
Okay, great.
Yes.
Great. Thank you, Mama.
And white is recessive not only to black but also to any other pigments. For example, red, yellow or orange. And here's my explanation. First of all, there is no such pigment that would produce white color.
Did y'all hear that? He said there is no such pigment that can produce white. None.
None.
Let's continue.
Actually, white color means no pigment at all. And here's my explanation. What you
Okay, that's it.
Turn this back up. I'm on mute. Okay.
Stop sharing. Go back.
All right.
So he was just talking about how the black gene is the dominant gene. When you go and look at, I was looking at research on different animals that had the black allele gene, and they was trying to research and see, why they come out black, brown, or why if the dominant gene is black, it's going to come out black. Sometimes the recessive gene can express itself as well. Like there's a recessive gene in my family and in the black people, because everything come from us. Brown eyes, green eyes. My son, when he was born, the youngest, his eyes were gray when he was born, and they went back from gray to green. And I told Nzambi, I said, they're going to end up hazel, because I know there's a few people in my family on my grandfather's side that have hazel eyes, and his eyes today are hazel. But when he was younger, they went back and forth. I guess, as the old people say, depending on the mood. Some days they be green, some days they would be gray, So, and it was my grandfather actually that had green. I remember his eyes being green. His wasn't hazel. That was a recessive trait. So sometimes it can show up. You have to know genes. If you remember, they don't teach this anymore, but I remember in the 8th grade, they taught us this about the dominant gene and how the black gene is the dominant gene. So if you take the dominant and mix it with a recessive, you're going to pretty much always see that the dominant is going to express itself more. So when you look at the melanated man, when the melanated man go outside, instead of mixing with his own and go outside and mix with another ethnic group, you're going to see the dominant express, because it's the dominant gene. That's why I wanted us to look at the word dominant. And we're going to look at that because black is the dominant gene. So it says, oh, let me share it again. I thought I shared it. No, I didn't. Okay. Okay, there we go. So it says black or melanin is the dominant gene. When we say black, we're talking about the melanin. That gives us our phenotype, the color of our skin that is expressed within us. That comes from our gene. So this theory that they're pushing in science to say that man left out of Africa and became different colors because of the culture and the environment is a lie.
I never felt good about that explanation. That really bothered me. I'm glad you're clarifying, Brenda.
Yes, your gene determines your phenotype, not your environment. If that's the case, then why is it that you have these folks that's been over in Africa for hundreds of years? Why haven't they turned black? If your environment has something to do with your phenotype, it does not. Your gene determines the expression of your phenotype. And this color, because of the gene that is within me, it expressed itself and showed who I am. It has nothing to do with your environment. They are trying to do that to put themselves in a position saying, oh, because they try to say, oh, our ancestors came out of Africa. Let's clear this up right now. They were not European or any other persuasion of color ancestors. If you're melanated, they were your ancestors. That came out of Africa. If you're non-melanated, they're not your ancestors. I don't care what they say. They say a lot and they lie a lot. I told you they have manipulated history. They have manipulated science. They have manipulated cultures and religion and manipulated everything for their propaganda and lies. And you have to be mindful of that. If you have a pathological liar, like the boy that cried wolf all the time, nobody believes him. So why are you believing them now with what they're saying when you know they have lied? I'm talking about those of you that are awake and you know they're liars. You know they have lied. You know they've lied about your culture, your history, even their history, they've lied. They're liars. You can't believe a liar. You can't trust a liar. Growing up, I heard, if you lie, you'll cheat. If you cheat, you'll steal. What have they done? Lied, cheated, and stole. Is that not the truth? Is that not the gospel truth? That's exactly what they did. Went around the globe, killed, raped, robbed, pillaged, and still doing it to this day. You have never seen no African nation, no African person, group of people, group of nation, kindred men, whatever you want to call them, no melanated man that have went around the globe and that have done what Europeans done. Why? Innately, we know that the earth is ours. Back to our teaching. We know that we have dominion. We don't have to go and dominate nothing when it's inherently already ours, that's been stolen by somebody that is not even taking care of it. They don't even have respect for their mothers. Go back and research the history of how they treated the females. In Africa, when a young lady was getting ready to get married, in the Bible, they talk about the dowry. There's our culture in Africa. They still do this today, a lot of them, where whomever is marrying, the family gives the family, the female, the dowry. It's the total opposite in the European culture. The female family had to give the dowry to the young man that was marrying the female because they saw them as a burden. But they knew in our culture that they was giving up jewels. They was giving up a goddess. They was giving up greatness. They knew the value and the worth of females. It is because of today we have lost the knowledge of who we are, and we have our black male mistreating the goddess, the queen, the mother of all, the first mother. But originally that was not so. That is why you saw, what's her name that's sitting on the throne with the baby? Aset. She's sitting on her throne, you all, because she's a queen with her baby, because it was the black female gene that determined who was going to be the ruler. Not so in the European culture.
That was the Trinity.
Yes, that was the original Trinity. It's the black family. Actually, why do you think they have worked so hard to destroy the black family? Things that make you go, Okay, so it says a dominant gene, because we're talking about who was given dominion and looking at the word dominion, dominant, and dominance, because the Bible says to have dominion, for man to have dominion. A dominant gene is a specific variant of a gene that expresses itself more strongly than any other version of the same gene. Did I not just tell you that the black gene, did that man tell you that the black gene is the dominant gene? You're going to see it express itself, right? If if a black man go have a child with a white woman, Asian woman, whomever, you're going to know it. You're going to see it because it's going to express itself because it's the dominant gene. When present on one allele of a gene pair, you have two pairs, like you have the BB, that's black. Then you have the B lower B. So that's why I said they taught us this. I remember this from 8th grade, biology, 8th grade. Never forgot it. I love science. It says, it determines visible characteristics or traits of an organism, not your environment. What is the gene determines the visible, meaning the outward characteristics or appearance or traits of an organism. Not your environment, people. Not your environment. Your gene determines the visible characteristics of what you would look like. That is
That's
why
good. So all the white South Africans should be black as long as they've been there. They should be black.
Exactly. Exactly.
I got it. I got it, Brenda. This is good. This is good. Good.
Okay,
Excellent.
okay. I'm gonna make sure everybody get this.
Yep.
Because they lying
Excellent.
and talking about,
We got it.
when the black man, the original man, see, our ancestors thousands of years ago, they left out of Africa and went into different places.
We got it.
Dispute themselves so much. They did the research and found a bone in Europe, the oldest bone, and they called him Cheddar Man, and they said that he was what? Black.
He was black.
You go black. You go to Asia, in those mountains, the ones that haven't killed off yet, black. The ones that they haven't killed off, the Andamanese speak black. Like that man said, black man, you were the original man. Nobody else, it was you. Where they came from, that's $1 million question.
It didn't come from us.
Not from us.
They did not come from us.
Don't
Thank you.
believe it. Don't believe that
Come from us.
Nope.
They did not.
And if that was the case, if that's the fact, then the fact that they stole our ancestors and took us out of Africa to different places, and we got put in different environments, then we would be looking like them now.
Exactly.
That was my point.
Yes.
Exactly. But there's black. And so why is it that they're pushing this agenda and this for blacks to mate with particularly European? Now the Asians are getting on board. Why
They're trying to save themselves.
Why do they want to make, if y'all come from us, as y'all say,
superiority
they're
culture.
trying to save themselves because let's just leave it at that. It's about them trying to save themselves.
Let me just say this real quick, and I'm going to make this point blank. In Genesis, when, and I'm going to go Bible, according to the Bible, when God said, be fruitful and multiply, listen, there was no other race on the earth, no other people. It was melanated people. So do not take that scripture literally today. So you got these people over in these other countries saying we need the melanated man to come and mate with our women. Don't you do it. And do not believe the scripture when it said, be fruitful and multiply, that it means to be fruitful and multiply with them. No, don't do it. We're not supposed to be mixing our seed. That's what that means. Do not mix your seed, but you stay with your own. I don't know how much plainer to put it.
Well, they do things that's happening on a spiritual level, not only physically, but on a spiritual level also. When you look at certain things, there's frequency. And everything that has matter on earth, it has frequency. Some has higher, some has lower. The black man has a higher frequency than any other group of people. You have certain fabrics that have higher frequency. The synthetic fabrics has a very low frequency. Some don't even have a frequency. It's so low that it's a negative frequency. So if the natural, they call it organic material, I showed you all. So the organic ones or the organic things are the ones that have the higher frequency. And who did I say that we are? We are the original. That means that we are the organic beings. So that means that we have a higher frequency. So when you begin to mate with those that have a lower frequency with you, it decreases your frequency. Frequency equals to what? Power.
Can I say something also real quick? I don't care how much money or what they offer you for your seed. You are the ruler, the masters of the earth. There's nothing that they can offer you greater than that. Nothing. That's what's wrong with a lot of the puppets They've taken the money because they're looking at these evil entities and what money have done for them. The sound of a lot of money, riches. Oh, I can get this. I can have this. I can live like this. And they give in. And they turn their own people over to be killed, destroyed, whatever, just for a little something that's going to last only so long. If those who gave it to you will allow you to even live that long. But regardless of what they offer you, do not give your seed for anything, any amount, whatever they offer you. Don't do it.
Okay, we're going to go back to the slide. So in other words, don't sell off your inheritance because that's what you're doing. So scientists think they found mitochondria Eve's first homeland in live science. So this is an article in this particular magazine. It said by studying the genomes of more than 1,200 indigenous Africans living in the southern part of the continent today, the team pieced together a history of one of the oldest DNA lineages on Earth, oldest, a collection of genes called the LO. And majority of those on the continent have the L haplogroup. My haplogroup. What's your haplogroup?
L2, I believe it is.
Target, what's your haplogroup?
L2, L3, something like that.
And mine is L. Majority of those on the continent, all over the continent, is L. So they're saying a collection of genes called the LO, which is passed down maternally through mitochondria, and this is our maternal that we found. It was the L we're talking about. It has survived unchanged in population for hundreds, thousands of years. That's ours. And so when you research the L, I researched it, that haplogroup. Mine's, what's your L2A? L2, mine's L2A then, I think is what it is. But it came from Congo, it says, the haplogroup, when I researched mine. So this is saying that the oldest is L, which is found all over Africa and in the diaspora, in the organic man. And it says, we've known for a long time that humans, remember that word humans, okay? We're going to look at that. We've known for a long time, bam, that humans originated in Africa roughly 2,000 years ago. We've been here longer than 200,000 years ago. I'm sorry. We've been here longer than that, though. See, said Vanessa Hayes, a geneticist. This is a geneticist. They looking at our genes, y'all. Okay. Dominant. The word that we looked at, go back to dominion, ruler, power, ownership, right? We were given dominion. So we were given the supreme authority over and rulership over this earth. It's ours. It belongs to us. But it's been usurped right now. We're in that stage and it's shifted now. So we go back. We want to look at dominant because we've been talking about the dominant gene. And it says a present participle of dominare, to rule, to dominate. So the dominant gene is basically, it's the same, dominant is the same as dominion. Hey, y'all, to rule, to dominate, to govern. So the dominant gene is the black gene. So it's the black gene, the melanin man, that has dominion, to govern, to rule.
And you know, this word domus keeps popping up. House, dem, house, household.
On a bet too.
And what keep coming up to me too, I didn't say it the first time, but I'm gonna say it this time. When the Most High said, let them have dominion over the earth is our house. This is our household, y'all. We can't let anyone.
So correct. So correct. The white man taught us we need to go up to the heavens. Nope. He gave us, he said, occupy until I come.
Thank you. Thank you.
But they have our people in Christianity focus so on heaven. Like they said, they found that they're no earthly good. Why did you come here on earth? but you're focusing on soul trying to go to heaven. All of us gonna end up going back to Zulu, and some that's gonna be into, prison based upon how you live as well, though. But still, you're going back to the land of the ancestors, one way or the other, one part or the other. So, but you have a purpose here. You're so focused on heaven that you can't focus on your purpose of why you came here. What is your purpose? Why did you come here? What did you come to do? So let's look at the word Adam. It says a masculine proper a name. They said a name, masculine proper name, the biblical name of the first man, progenitor of the human race. That word human is coming up again from the Hebrew Adam, man, literally the one formed from the what?
Ground.
The ground. So y'all remember that. Remember human? Ground. It says come from the Latin homo, man, humanus, human. So from human, Adam really come from the word Adam, the Latin meaning homo, man, Adam, first man. So all of us are Adam, male and female. It's just saying that's the original man, because why? They came from the dust of the earth. That's where Adam came from. Which is humus. Humus is the same as earth, ground, and soil. That is why they call us human. Human means color, the colored man, nobody else. They can't call themselves humans. They try to, and they have, but it doesn't fit them. When you look at the definition, we're going to look at it. You see, they have exerted themselves in a lot of things to make themselves fit amongst us, but not so. So it says humus mean earth, grounds, soil. Okay.
Okay, real quick. Human, you saying human is Adam, right?
Yes.
Okay, now let's look at it from their perspective. They said Adam is the first man.
Yes.
Right? And that's how they refer to Adam. And they say Adam, he, right? So if Adam is human, why don't they say Eve is woman?
Because Adam, when they said man,
I know I'm being facetious.
Yeah, it's all of it.
There's no such word as woman, right? So they put all of us in human, meaning, as Brenda said, all of us are Adam. Adam is not male nor female.
It just means the original.
It means
man.
Human.
The
original
man.
There you go.
So, okay, I told you all back here when it says, where was it at? Okay, there's some words I told you to look at. But anyway, let's go here for time's sake. So humus, because they said that humanus, human, humus, all these words are connected, that they all come from the same root word, hue, which means colored. And what did they used to call us over here? Colored at one time. Remember they called us colored back in the 60s?
Mm-hmm.
Because we have hue, that melanin. That's all they're saying, the melanated man. So what does humus look like? Which the word human comes from. This is the color of humus right here. You see how dark that is? And look at the definition. It says humus is a dark organic. Organic means original material that forms in soil when plant and animal matter decay. So when we transition, we go back from whence this physical body came from, earth. Humus. We become humus again. That is why they say human. Hue means color. What color? There it is right there, you all. And it is organic. Organic material. We are organic beings.
And you know something else says there too. It says that forms in soil when plant and animal matter decays, which goes to show we're all connected. We're connected to the animals. We're connected to the plants, the grass.
Yeah.
We are connected, which is why they said, let them have dominion over the fowls of the air, the birds, the animals, and the fish. We're all connected. It didn't tell us to kill the animals like these evil entities are doing. They said dominion. You have dominion over them. What is it when we have pets in our house? We have dominion over that pet. The pet listens to us. We tell the pet, we train the pet to do what it do. We don't have the pet in our house and say it's going to be dinner tomorrow.
Mm-hmm.
We don't kill our pets. Come on.
Mm.
And it says this humus, it ranges in color from brown to black, not white.
Mm.
Man means colored man. Human comes from the word, same root word as humus, meaning colored, dark, from brown to black in color, which is organic matter, organic material that is composed of, as you can see here, it says carbon. When they said we're decreasing the carbon footprint, hey, y'all better know they're talking about you, black man.
That's their intentions. They went out on the past.
Decreasing you out of the earth. They use code words. Knowledge is power, my family. Melanin is carbon. So when they said we're decreasing the carbon footprint, they're talking about eliminating you.
It won't
Nothing
happen.
else. I just said they're talking about. It says humus is dark. Okay. So Adam, root word, H19, man, mankind, human being. This is who Adam is, the original man, the black man. That's us. When they talk about Adam in the Bible, how it says God says, remember I said the God says, let us create man. It's telling you human Adam. So and I showed you who the Adam is, what it means. Humus, dark, black. It's you. Adam is the original man, which is the hue man, the colored man, the black man. So dominion was given to you. It was you that was created in the image and likeness of the gods. And so the etymology comes from the root word meaning red or ruddy. And they try to insert there and say to flush with like red. That's a lie. So we're going to look at that. And I've done a teaching on this some years ago. You can go back and look at the video. So when they talk about the ruddy cow, that cow is not white turning a fleshly red color when it flushes. It's brown in hue. That's ruddy. So let's look at ruddy. It says to be red, ruddy, of Nazarites, red. So let's look at what ruddy is. This right here, ruddy animals. You see, I said search ruddy animals, Bean. Tell me what ruddy animals look like, Bean. Bean said, boom, this is what it looks like, Brenda. It looks like brown, black, different hues of brown. Ruddy.
Melanin. Melanin.
Not what, family?
Melanin.
That is it. So the man that was given dominion that was spoken of in the book of Genesis is the black man. When you look at in the book in the Bible, it's setting. You learn in school to look at the characters, the setting, the plot, and all that. So the setting of the Bible is in Africa. Who's in Africa? Who did they say came out of Africa? The black man. That's us. The hue man, the original man, the organic man, the humus man, the man that come from humus. When I say man, I'm talking about man, woman, boy, and girl, us. It is you. You need to awaken. Remember who you are. Remember I said they had up there, man, know thyself. You come from greatness. You come from royalty. You are the original man. The earth was given to you, and it is time that we take it back. And the rule, the way our ancestors rule, not with this iron fist, with disrespect of female, the mothers, disrespect of life, going around killing just because you want what somebody has. That wasn't us. So we have to go back to who we are. Man, know thyself. Remember who you are. Remember in Lion King? And he said, remember who you are? Black man, you need to remember who you are. You are not who they have portrayed you to be. You are not a slave. You are not substandard. You are not less than. You are not uneducated. You are not backwards. Language and alphabet came from you, your ancestors, our ancestors, us, off the continent of Africa. Music came from us. Music is in our bones. That is why we can move to the rhythm. When you look at other people, a lot of times they're off rhythm, but they have gotten some of our gene and mixed with our people that they're starting to dance like us now. Why do you think they want our genes and want to mix with us? They know who the original man is.
And they trying to
Keep it
survive.
real. Oh yeah, they're trying to survive because they're dying off. Research it. I've seen in the articles, and I've been in webinars. Hey, yeah, in webinars where they said the white people, Europeans are dying off, particularly white males, and they told us from what they're dying off, from alcoholism, suicide, and other things. Europe was paying, I don't know if they still are doing it, they were paying families to have babies. China, I understand that they are abducting females in China, little girls from school, and taking them to these breeding farms because they're not producing. The Asians, the Europeans, and somewhere else I saw. So, but I read where the group of people that are producing more than any other ethnic group is two of them. Guess who they are? The original man, of course. We always gonna be here. We're the original. We don't die. Y'all ain't gonna help me out?
Multiply.
We don't die. We multiply. You know what?
Who's the other group?
They said the Mexicans. Yeah, the Mexicans. But yeah, you don't say. In our yard, we had a tree that we had to cut down, and I surely know that tree was so beautiful. I felt so bad cutting that tree down. It hurt me, you all, to the core. Saw these little things sprouting up, and I told Ms. Nzambi, I said, I think those are those trees growing up. It was a lot of them. So he used his app. Sure enough, they were small trees growing up again from that tree that was cut down. Multiple ones, and we're just like that tree. I was looking outside the window, and I heard, you all just like this tree. You see how the tree is multiplying? We don't die. That tree may have died, but the tree had seed descendants and it's popping up. That's how we are. We don't die, we multiply. Man, know thyself, Black man. It's in your hands, sir.
Yeah, all right. Powerful teaching. Powerful teaching. So,
That was very powerful, very needed.
yeah.
It needed to go over the airways today, just like that. I can think about 20 people I'm going to send this to as soon as it uploads.
All right. So we are the original man, and we have dominion. And that's why we have been awakened during this time, because it's time for us to take it back. It's time for us to rise up. So family, this message was beautiful. It was powerful. And I ask, to let it resonate within you. And we thank you all for being with us. We love you greatly. And until next time, family on Zoom, you know how we do, you know what we do. And so just hold on tight. And for those of you on YouTube and Facebook, we love you, and we will speak with you soon.
And again, this was for educational purposes only.
BASSEH.
BASSEH.
BASSEH. BASSEH.